open mini-firm, snacks and beer parlor are now free for all. And in sports, join Evans William Jobati with a Tuesday 5, in which we'll be talking about cricket and football. Stay tuned for these and more. Good afternoon once again. My name is ABEL Bela Samari. We'll open our Royal Afternoon edition to talk about the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO.
MASO, the special page in the news.
A special page in the news indeed to tell you that with less than 5 days for the apotheosis of the raffle draw ceremony that will take place at the multi-purpose sports complex, the Group Renapro Finance SA has ensured that the draw should be done in a total transparency and charity. Ebatus Nduye, you caught up with the legal mind of the Group Renapro Finance SA, the disposition that have been taken to ensure a successful event. Take a listen to his report.
The Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO Act 3, which is out to promote African solidarity and reduce the prevalence of misery in Cameroon under the Group Renapro Finance SA, has gone as far as to establish an authorization permit document from the divisional officer of Yaoundé 2, Mamak Jean-Philippe, is the legal mind in charge of affairs related to the Group Renapro Finance SA.
We have the authorization from the divisional officer to carry out our activities to make sure that there is transparency and clarity, and we have solicited the service of the Sheriff Bailiff.
Running for its third edition with all protocol respected to ensure a succinct organization on July 9th at the Paposi, the management has strategized systematic measures in that regard.
The top management have put in place an internal measure that relay the organization of MASO. The mutualists should have confidence on the processes put in place and also on the Sheriff Bailiff that will be present to ensure that everything goes well.
As the multipurpose sport complex serves as a hub for all and sundry that will be present that day for the apotheosis ceremony, for the legal mind further advanced that forms will be handed to mutualists that will be present at the raffle draw.
After the raffle draw, any offer given to any mutualist is ascribed to a convention that will describe the responsibility of the winner and MASO.
The rendezvous is therefore taken for July 9 for all mutualists entitled with their registration form to be present at the multipurpose sport complex.
Eratus Nduye Dibida in that report, and the heat of MASO Act 3 gets hotter as we draw closer to the D-Day, which is July the 9th, 2023. The highly anticipated event will be graced with the performance of some top 2023 at 237 music icons who have also expressed readiness to celebrate African solidarity with mutualists of the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO. Our cultural lady Mapala Zita complete that story.
The organizing committee of MASO Act 3 is leaving no stone unturned when it comes to the entertainment part of that event. Chris M is one of Cameroon's finest and most trending artists of the time.
Voyons, à chacun sa chance. Et autrement, je suis l'artiste Chris M. Je vous donne rendez-vous le dimanche 9 juillet 2023 au Palais des Sports de Yaoundé à partir de 14h. Venez qu'ensemble on célèbre la solidarité africaine avec la MASO.
And talking of celebrating African solidarity with MASO is also talking about showcasing the rich cultural diversity of the African continent in general and Cameroon in particular. And for that, Remy Star and Prince Yerima Afuakom will be present at Sunday's show. Other top names of the Cameroonian music industry like Jackie Bio, Isnebo and Patubas will also be live on July the 9th to entertain mutualists. All work without play, they say, makes Jack a dull boy, and MASO Act 3 will thus be a serious yet exciting event to attend.
Mapala Zita in that report. And just to add to your story, that registration and contribution for Maso Act 4 have started. Just go to Enwinapo Finance SA Agency. There are 27 of them in Cameroon, 13 in the capital city Yaoundé. Make sure you register into the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity Maso Act 4 that will wrap up on the 29th of June 2024. Or you meet us here at the Radio House where FM. You can equally register into the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity Maso.
Maso, that was the special page in the news.
And we'll take you to this information, like I said, in one of our late stories. 1 week after the divisional officer for Yaoundé 6 subdivision decided to close the mini-firm for a period of 1 month for security reason, the ban have been uplifted. Snacks and drinking spots are now functioning without any perturb. A student journalist on internship, Ebanda Leon, went down to mini-firm to gather the reaction of some inhabitants of that locality here in the capital city Yaoundé immediately after it was released, after the ban was uplifted. Take a listen to what they have to say in the following Vox Pop.
The decision that the DO took to remove the sanction is good because some parents help them to feed their child, and it also help them to send their child to school. They can help their parents to feed their child, give them food, buy them shoes to go back to school with it.
No difference between 1 month and what they are saying. If they want to stop, let them stop for once. That they don't want prostitute there. Let them not be making nonsense that 1 month. 1 month, when they want to come back for that 1 month, it will double what the family has lost their parents. But they say Cameroon is a peace walk fatherland. What type of peace is there? No peace, no unity, corruption every day and night.
There is no decision here in Cameroon. When you have money, you can even kill even the minister, and tomorrow you go out of the cell. There's no decision. Corruption, too much corruption. I'm a teacher. I cannot teach. Every I'm compiling. They cannot integrate me because Cameroon is corrupt. No rights, no justice. Human rights abuse everywhere.
I will take you to talk about parliamentary news in this edition to say the bill to ratify the ordinance amend and supplement some provision of the 2023 finance law has been adopted by the National Assembly. The adoption comes following a general debate during which parliamentarians were clarified on the number of related issues by the Minister of Finance, Louis-Paul Motazi. The ordinance of the head of state reviewed the budget upwards by 381.8 billion francs CFA in absolute terms and 8% in relative terms. Let's now listen to Minister Louis-Paul Motazi.
I don't think we can talk about some irregularities. We can face some problems. This is temporary problems. That means that you can have a problem with our applications, and what we generally do is to solve that problem. Because I want to raise your attention to one point. What are we doing today? We came here for the ratification of the ordinance. And what does this ordinance say? This ordinance say that there is an increase in the public revenues. That means that things are going well. We can meet some problem, but we are there to resolve the problem. There was another question that was very interesting from Honorable Kumaze for what we can do for the youth, because we agree with him that the youth is an important issue for the president, and the president has always said that we have to do something for the youth, and we are doing that.
Minister Louis-Paul Motaze goes further to explain what the government of Cameroon plans to do for this year 2023.
Try to give them some subsidies, and we have made a reflection so as to see if the best way should be to give them guarantees, but they go to the banks because they need money. We can't say exactly if the project that they have is a good or bad project or not. Yes, we have an idea, but we think that the banks are well organized to see if they can appreciate the project or not. But the problem in the bank is that generally the youth, they don't have guarantees. And this is why for the 2023 law, we put a credit of 2 100 billion for the guarantees. But this guarantee, what should they do is that when you have a project, you go to your bank. You don't go to see the minister. You go to your bank. The bank will have a look on the project, and the bank can say that yes, this is a good project. But the problem is that the one who has the application, the applicant, it doesn't have enough guarantees, and then the bank will come to the Minister of Finance to ask for guarantee. This is what we are doing, and we would like to create a company, private sector, public sector, just for this problem of the guarantees, because it's a very important.
Minister Louis Paul Motaz is speaking there. The bill to ratify the ordinance of the June 2nd, 2023 to amend and supplement some provision of the current finance law were adopted by the National Assembly. It was tabled at the Senate for substantial scrutiny. The plenary, which took place at the Senate hemicycle, was chaired by Senate President Maxet Nyat Njifenji and saw the adoption of two different bills. In the meantime, Senate have also received the Prime Minister, head of government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, for the 2024-2026 medium-term economic and budgetary programming, a document that will enable them to actively participate in the budgetary debate in the days ahead. Away from parliamentary news, we tell economy to say the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Motazi, has urged taxpayers to register attendance and second-handed vehicles that all special units will be dissolved as of the 1st of July 2023. All activities carried out by these units will henceforth be handled by the respective tax office. The reform is part of the General Directorate for Taxation modernization drive intended to strengthen the application of principles of single tax point of contacts and improve the quality of service provided to taxpayers. We stay in economy to say ranking disclosed by the World Statistics revealed that countries are still facing an unemployment rate exceeding 25%. The top 10 of these rankings are African countries. Indeed, the first two countries are Nigeria with an unemployment rate of 33.3%, followed by South Africa with a rate of 32.9%. In these lights, Christian Mando caught up with some economists to understand the paradox that the high rate of unemployment is recorded in countries that are amongst the most prosperous economy in the African continent.
Rating unemployment is based on the activities carried out in a nation, according to the economist Chumulu Eugene. The absence of these activities can be one of the reasons of the high rate of unemployment.
When a nation is not carrying out activities that will put people at work, it will be very, very difficult for them to increase the rate of employment. Africans in general are people who mostly consume even without producing. Nigeria in particular and South Africa, they hardly produce. They rather export their raw materials.
Considering that Nigeria and South Africa are amongst the most populated countries in Africa, the rate of unemployment can just be high. Polycarp Chewitala is an economist.
In these countries, the gap between the rich and the poor is so wide. Therefore, the rich get richer while the poor are getting poorer. So, like 10% of the population occupies 90% of the world. Those two countries are the most populated countries in Africa. The highest number of the population are not working.
Limited entrepreneurship common in these two countries can be a justification for this paradox, as the economist Chabi Protus explains.
Few individuals in a country with limited entrepreneurship development are utilizing their entrepreneurial skills and gaining financial independence, and there can be that there is no adequate support. Another possible justification can be the lack of quality education and training.
Going on the above views, every African country has to go in for industrialization, as the greater part of employment is based on it.
Christian Mando in that report. And on to this future story, which couples have this phenomenon of not investing into family projects like land, businesses, and other activities. And we took interest in this through our student journalist on internship, Darren Awasiri, who went down the streets of Yaoundé to find out if people do invest as couple in any business of their choice.
My wife and I do invest in everything together. The reason being that we have the same vision. At times, in some of the business, I just came from me, some came from her. And after we studied and see that we could make it, then we launch it together.
My husband and I decided to invest together because he's an army. Tomorrow it can turn another way. So this my child, tomorrow is no more there. Then my child, how will I do with him? He decided to invest in my salon just because he wanted me to be secure.
We do all together, family projects, financial projects, just everything. We couple ourselves together and do it. If I don't bring an idea, he brings the idea and we see how to develop it. He brings the finances and we multiply together.
I will talk politics in this newscast to say over 7,000 to 4,000 new voters have been already enrolled in the country's voters register in the year 2022 review exercise as confirmed by the officials of Cameroon Elections Management Body ELECA in the littoral region. They call on Cameroonians of voting age to get into the nearest mobile unit or ELECA branch office with their ID cards and to be enrolled as part of the civil responsibility. The review exercise ends on August the 31st, 2023. Still in politics, most political actors and especially militants of the Cameroon People Democratic Movement Party have recently been making numerous calls on the head of state, President Paul Biya, to stand for the next presidential elections in Cameroon. But what can explain this desire and how can this call be analyzed? Finwe Crispin interviewed a political analyst and put together the following reports for the 2PM News.
Shortly after President Paul Biya won the 2018 presidential election in Cameroon, he began getting calls from his party's militants and other political actors to stand as candidate for the next presidential election. These calls have recorded continuously till date. However, Alemkem Richard, a political analyst, attests there is something more to these calls.
When we cross-examine such calls, it tells us that such people may likely have skeletons in their cupboards. The head of state himself told us these last outings that we should wait and he will tell us whether he will be there or not. I don't think people should go around calling him to stand. He himself said that he will tell us whether he will be standing for elections or he will be going back to the village on retirement.
Moreover, the head of state is the only one to decide on whether or not to stand for another mandate. Alemkem Richard once more.
The head of state, he has the yam and the knife. Those calling for him to stand, I don't think all those calls, they don't matter. Mr. Biya will tell us at the last minute. He said he will tell us before time whether you will be candidate or not. So I think it will be good to wait for him. But those who are calling for him to stand, they have their reasons.
It is worth recalling that the next presidential elections in Cameroon is slated for 2025.
You are listening to Royal Afternoon Edition, the 2 p.m. newscast, coming to you from Royal 88.4 FM. Coming up.
This is a very good news because he has saved the nation, Senegal, from war and bloodshed. Many people would have died. Senegal would have witnessed a serious war that would have lasted for many years, but President Macky Sall has done his best.
I will take you out of the country. Opposition politicians have reacted to Senegal's President Macky Sall's announcement that he will not be a candidate in the 2024 presidential election, saying it is resulted from pressure from the public. Abassa Fall, a member of parliament and coordinator of PASTIF, the party of key opposition leader Ousmane Sonko, said it was not a surprise. And other opposition leaders in Senegal like Aminata Touré, a former prime minister who is now an opposition leader, say Mr. Sall's decision is the total respect of the constitution of Senegal. And back in Cameroon, Cameroonians too have been reacting to Senegal's President Macky Sall's decision not to run for the next presidential election bill for the year 2024. As student journalists on internship, Mbala Miris capture their reaction and put together in the following vox pop.
It's a good decision. I think if other countries like Cameroon can copy that, it's very good because it's not like a kingdom where the president will sit until his dying days ruling. It's a good decision. If you are not fit for something, you better step down and give room to those that can at least do something. And in addition, change is always a good thing. A change in everything, there must be a change, and change always brings forth good things. I wish that should also apply in our own country.
Regarding the condition of Senegal, I think the president is right. I'm not a fan of politics, but at least for this time, we think it is right for him to step down. If he can teach other presidents of Africa how to rule, because left to me is the best way of ruling, giving place to other people to show their talents and show what they are able to do, to have different ways of developing the nation.
It's really a good idea for the president of Senegal to stand out on his mandate, since their mandate over there is 2 terms. So it's really a good idea. He should leave the post for other people of more experience, of new experience, who can bring more ideas and for the development and for the well-being of the country.
As the president of Senegal, Macky Sall, announced that he won't run for the 3rd mandate presidential post to end widespread speculation. President Macky Sall was speaking during an address to the nation yesterday. Political actors in Cameroon have been reacting to the decision of Senegalese President Macky Sall not to partake in that country's election. Our own Gementa, editor-in-chief by interim, captured some of their reaction and put together the following report for us.
If the outing of President Macky Sall will reduce the unrest fueled by some opposition leaders in Senegal, back in Cameroon, some political actors say
the pressure they were already mounting on Macky Sall, and knowing that Macky Sall is not a dictator per se, we are now seeing, due to his acceptance or his rejection of a new mandate, we now see him as a democrat. And other African nations should follow suit. Us in Cameroon, we are supposed to mount pressure on our leaders so that they should not think that power is a dynastic issue. Power is a democratic issue. When you come, you play your role. It's like a stage. You come, you play your role, and you quit the stage for some other person to come and play his. And Senegal has stood the test of being a democratic country in Africa.
To this other political actor, President Macky Sall refused to shed blood for a 3rd term office.
This is a very good news because he has saved the nation, Senegal, from war and bloodshed. Many people would have died. Senegal would have witnessed a serious war that would have lasted for many years. But President Macky Sall has done his best, and we wish other African head of state to copy, emulate the example of Macky Sall, saying that he will not go again for the presidential election of 2024.
And if these political actors highly welcome the decision from President Macky Sall, other opposition actors, however, believe that
we are still to wait. You know, politicians, you don't have to take them on their words. He can change by tomorrow, doing a speech and saying I will not stand. He can still do another speech tomorrow and say the people decided that I should, because they always use that word, the people, which they don't even represent 100%. For me, the main opposition leader who is in prison now, Ousmane Sonko, has to be released for the game to be played normally.
In this case, the opposition had called for fresh protests if President Macky Sall decides to run for another presidential election.
To know if Macky Sall's decision can be taken for a gospel truth, our own Mapala Zita caught up with a political analyst in the person of Far Evis who respond.
President Macky Sall's outing as of yesterday, talking about not willing to go in for the 3rd term, it's an outing which should be appreciated by some of us, but at the same time, it's an outing that must not be taken for the gospel truth. Now, the reason is that I want to think that Macky Sall is testing the waters and for not being very definite about when to take official pronunciation on his not willing to go in shows that circumstances have simply forced him to do so. Now you realized that even when Abdoulaye Wade made an attempt, there was a similar riot, and so this is the same scenario we're finding here with President Macky Sall. And you understand that for a president to take that kind of move tells you that it is a matter of respecting the constitution. Now what we should be able to understand is that the people of Senegal are no-nonsense persons who understand that the constitution must be respected stricto sensu. And so I would only see him and take him serious if he really decides not to go in as he has said. But I'll call that a pinch of salt and not really for the gospel truth. The moment we will see him put what he has said into practice, then we shall believe in him.
And we'll still stay out of the country. From Senegal, let's move to Mali, where the spokesman for Mali's Torek Armed Group has expressed reassurance over Mali's peace process after talks with Russia ambassador to the country. The armed group had warned earlier that the withdrawal of the UN peacekeeping force in the country, MINUSMA, will deal a fatal blow to the northern Mali peace process. The ex-rebels have previously raised fear over the future of the 2015 peace agreement that officially ended the secessionist insurgent in northern Mali. We'll come back to talk sport. And joining me in the studio is Evans William Jobati, who is carrying a Tuesday Sports File. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Abel.
We begin with football, and in football, let's talk about the Lionesses of Cameroon, the military version. As the indomitable Lionesses have remained unbeaten since the start of the campaign at the Military Women World Cup taking place in the Netherlands.
Brenda Tabe and mates overpowered all their opponents in Group C, earning a total of 9 points, 8 goals, and 2 clean sheets in all 3 matches. Coach Mike Dumo and her girls have intensified training sessions ahead of their semi-final games opposed to South Korea tomorrow as from 4 p.m. at the SV Spakenburg Stadium in the Netherlands. In this regard, we recorded the views of some Yaoundé city dwellers who believe in the squad as they shared their views in this Vox Pop compiled by our student intern Ebanda Leon.
There are 3 matches that they played for the qualifications, of which they won all of them. I think it's going to take them a long way to go. So they just have to work better on their skills of attack. We just pray they reach the finals, and I have faith that they can reach.
The military lionesses are doing really great. They have been winning all the matches since the beginning, and now they are going to the semi-finals. So we are behind them. We really support them. We really wish that Cameroon becomes the first African country to win the Women's Military World Cup. We are very optimistic. We know that if they have been able to reach this stage, they can do better, they can go further.
They have great players, good coach. Yeah, there's a possible chance to win, but yeah, they have also great team. We are also batting against great team, but I have confidence in Cameroon team.
Evans William Jobati, I want us to talk about the interpose that will be taking place in Yaoundé in the central region in the days ahead. But let's take the interest in the northwest and southwest regions where the mini interpose are taking their final phase, and you have some of these fixtures.
We begin with the Southwest Regional League, where the finalists of the region's mini interpose are known with Isosa to clash with Kumba City FC on Sunday 9 July at the Middle Farm Stadiums in Limbe. Meanwhile, the Northwest Regional League will be playing its second leg of the mini interpose semi-finals this Wednesday with Tuba United to try a comeback against Bafmen United at 1 p.m. on a 0-1 aggregate, and Bang Bullets will want to maintain their lead over Hilltop Strikers on a 3-0 aggregate, all at the University of Bamenda Stadium. In the same light, let's listen to Ebako Rene, who came up with the VAR technology that was used in the match Tuba United opposed to Bafmen United. Let's take a listen.
I would like to say it's the first time I did something like that. I would have never believed that the thing would have come out in this way. Just like the passion and commitment to it that made it a success. But I was sincerely afraid, especially with the cameras, because I was like, in case a wrong decision is made, my camera might fall down or my computer might just get bad. So I was kind of scared. If I have good cameras as well as good capturing cards and good microphone, I think we can even give better than what we are expected to give.
And we talk this time, let's talk about the cricket, where the National Domestic Championship, which also account for the Cup of Cameroon, which began yesterday, was supposed to take place today.
Yes, Abel, the competition was supposed to continue today after a successful launching with 12 teams for the male category and 10 teams for the female category. But due to bad weather, the 2 matches have been postponed to Wednesday, the 5th July 2023. We contacted the tournament's director, James Solfak, who further gives explanations today's games being postponed. Let's listen.
The weather this morning was too bad, reason why we couldn't continue with our normal activities, that is the championship, because in cricket we don't usually play when it rains. Reason why we have postponed the matches that were supposed to be played today. I've carried them for the next day, so it therefore means the competition will resume tomorrow, and the date of the activities, as probably you may have our program, we keep playing until the 22nd of July. So we have a long period ahead of us, and we are going to make sure we cover all the fixtures as it was made, and we will be looking for the next days to see how things move.
As of now, the second day stands it as Stallions of Yaoundé will take on Royals of Boya for the men, Barons Women's of Yaoundé versus Warriors of Yaoundé, Academic Cricket Men of Douala against Trailblazers of Yaoundé, New Stars of Garoua go after Edeya Six Stars Cricket Men Club. Pathfinder of Yaoundé will confront Cheetahs Men Cricket Team of Bamenda, and Spartans Cricket Women's of Etukebe in Yaoundé will be confronted to city rivals Cop Pioneers, all at the Lycée Général Leclerc Secondary School till the 22nd of July 2023. Abel.
Thank you so very much, Evans William Jobati, for our Tuesday Sports Fight. As you unseat yourself, we welcome Dema Olivier Epo, who is here with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Nebel. Mutuelle d'assistance et de solidarité Masso, l'acte 4 est lancé, ceci depuis la fin des souscriptions à l'acte 3 le 29 juin dernier. Même si l'on est déjà rendu à l'acte 4, l'acte 3 doit encore être célébré. Ce sera le 9 juillet, dimanche prochain, au Palais Polyvalent des Sports de Yaoundé. La célébration consistera dans le tirage au sort solennel des bénéficiaires des nombreux lots et assistances divers. Au quartier Mène à Yaoundé, les snack bars, débits de boissons et autres espaces de loisirs sont de nouveau ouverts. Jeudi dernier, le sous-préfet de Yaoundé 6e en avait ordonné la fermeture car favorable au développement de l'insécurité et à la prolifération d'autres attitudes et comportements malsains. Depuis hier, lundi, tous ces établissements ont repris du service, le sous-préfet de Yaoundé 6 en ayant ordonné la levée de suspension. Il ne sera donc passé que 3 jours entre l'arrêté de fermeture des établissements et leur réouverture. Un nouveau rapport de World Statistics est disponible qui renseigne sur le chômage dans le monde. Selon le dit rapport, plusieurs pays ont un taux de chômage supérieur à 25%. En Afrique, les pays avec le taux de chômage les plus élevés sont ceux dont les niveaux de croissance sont parmi les plus élevés. En sport, Coupe du monde militaire de football féminin 2023, place aux demi-finales. La France, championne du monde en titre depuis 2022, jouera avec le pays organisateur, c'est la Hollande. Le Cameroun, vice-champion du monde 2022, va affronter la Corée du Sud. Les demi-finales se disputent demain. Le Cameroun, avant d'atteindre les demi-finales, a survolé le groupe C au premier tour. Les filles de Mike Ndoumou ont tour à tour vaincu la Belgique 2-0, les États-Unis 4-2 et l'Allemagne 4-0. Le championnat du monde s'achève le 9 juillet. Au-delà de nos frontières, Sénégal, le président de la République Macky Sall a annoncé hier, lundi, qu'il ne sera pas candidat à un troisième mandat pour la présidentielle de 2024. Cette décision fait suite aux troubles qu'a connu le Sénégal pendant quelques semaines. Ebel.
And it is with that summary from Olivier Demaepo that we wrap up this edition of our 2 p.m. newscast. The team keeping you company this afternoon. We have Irish Kemwe, our sound engineer, plus our copyright clerk. We have Jean-Marie Otto, our video editor, on our Facebook/YouTube page. We are FM Cameroon. The news was produced by Fingri Crispin. News edited by Gementa. Coordination by our own Director General, Jean-Paul Antala. General supervision was ensured by Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noy. For presentation, my name is ABEL Bela Samari, and sitting next to me is Raisa Pake. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, ABEL BELA SAMARI.
Yes.
Page pratique, coup de cœur, les thématiques. À tout à l'heure.
Avec beaucoup de musique. Listeners, don't move a muzzle.